The city never moved forward. Clocks ticked in circles, days reloaded, faces reset. The sun rose on the same morning, streets remembered every footstep. People woke, worked, and slept again. Time was not a river, it was a room with locked doors. At first, despair filled it. Screams scratched the walls, hope dried like chalk. Then a few learned to look differently. If the cage would not open, they would change within it. One man mapped every market stall. He walked blindfolded, unafraid. One woman played the same melody until it glowed. Children learned patterns like constellations. Bakers mastered heat by memory alone. Fighters studied the rhythm of patrols. The city could not move, but its people could rise. Repetition became practice. Practice became art. Art became meaning. The prison ripened into a temple, and across centuries one lesson kept ringing. Make a virtue of necessity. Learn it. Live it. Ancient poets knew this law. Odysseus did not choose his voyage. The sea chose him. The gods chose him. War ended, yet peace would not begin. Winds shifted. Oaths bound him tighter than ropes. He sailed because necessity commanded it. On the wine-dark water, he learned a new craft. Not only oars, not only sails, he learned transformation. A giant blocked the cave. Strength would fail, so he poured sweet wine and offered a false name. Nobody, he said, smiling like a knife. The monster slept. The stake burned. At dawn, they clung beneath rams and slipped away. The cave opened into fate. Another shore, another snare. Voices wrapped in honey promised knowledge and bliss. He wanted the song. He also wanted life. So he ordered wax for every ear and rope for himself. He faced the sirens while utterly bound. Necessity became strategy. Desire became discipline. He survived by choosing the only choice. Islands rose and vanished like thoughts. Storms bruised the sky. Men fell to grief, greed, sorrow. Yet the captain kept learning. He learned patience with gods who toyed with mortals. He learned humility under skies without mercy. He learned gratitude for small wins and simple bread. The Odyssey tells more than adventures. It tells the alchemy of constraint, cunning born from corners, patience born from pain, loyalty born from loss. He could not end the voyage, but he could shape the sailor he became within it. Home was not a reward granted by fortune. Home was the meaning forged along the way. When he bent the bow, when he spoke his name, when he touched the bed rooted in living wood, every trial burned clean. The long compulsion turned to honor. Hear the ancients whisper from the surf. Make friends with limits. Bind yourself to wisdom when temptation sings. Use the narrow strait as a compass. Let storms tutor you. When the gods will not yield, make your character your helm. To make a virtue of necessity is the oldest seamanship. The harbor you seek begins inside the ship. Remember the lesson carved on every oar. You cannot silence winds, but you can trim sails. You cannot shorten distance, but you can lengthen courage. In hardship, practice. In repetition, mastery. In compulsion, meaning. Sail on, become. History remembers the peasant girl who refused to be small. Jeanne was born in Domremy under a sky of fear. Armies trampled fields, taxes stole bread. Foreign banners cut the horizon. She did not choose her century, it chose her. Visions came like bells through fog. Saints spoke in the language of fire. They named a duty she could neither refuse nor fully explain. She asked for a sword, for a banner, for a road to Orléans. Necessity pressed from every side. Faith turned that pressure into motion. Armor weighed on shoulders that had carried water, yet she rode forward. She spoke with commanders who doubted everything except her conviction. She could not write strategy, she could ignite it. Her words made wounded courage stand up again. Men followed because the alternative was surrender. She made necessity burn bright. At Orléans, the siege had become a calendar of despair. Each day, another failure. Each night, another prayer failing to lift. Joan arrived and dared the hour. She crossed the moat, planted the banner where arrows fell, and the day turned. The city breathed. Sometimes history changes because one voice refuses the smaller story. Power answered. Courts convened. Theology became blade. She was captured, paraded, examined, accused. In a narrow room, a young woman faced old men and their endless questions. She answered with simple thunder. I am what I am. I did what I must. They tied her to the stake. Smoke braided with morning light. Fire climbed like judgment and like coronation. Witnesses trembled. Some turned away. Others wept because they knew the truth. Necessity had made a saint and an offense at once. Years passed. Verdicts shifted. Statues rose. Songs gathered. France remembered not a witch, not a rebel, but a mirror. In it, a nation saw its courage wearing armor. What does her life teach? That greatness sometimes arrives disguised as burden. That calling can feel like a corner, yet open into daylight. When history locks the door, character finds another. Make a virtue of necessity, and even the flame cannot swallow your name. Let her banner rise again in your doubts. Let the ordinary voice inside speak like steel. When the world narrows, widen within. Turn pressure into prayer, prayer into courage, courage into deeds. Today. In the century ahead, cities will shine like servers. Towers will breathe data. Every door will know your name. Every step will echo in a ledger that never forgets. Convenience will feel like kindness. It will also feel like a collar. Rationing will return, dressed in glass. Energy will arrive by permission. Water will be counted in invisible bowls. The code will decide who drinks first. The message will be simple. Comply and continue. Refuse and disappear. Most will float with the current, heads down, screens bright. But a few will treat constraint as a classroom. They will study the machine the way sailors study storms. They will learn where the wind falls dead, where the gusts hit hardest, where the calm hides choices. They will speak in patterns the cameras misread. Not violence, not chaos, rhythm, a cough at the right moment, a door closed twice, a red scarf draped over a third-floor balcony, meaning woven into ordinary motion. The algorithm will see bodies. It will miss the music. Scarcity will become a forge. A battery salvaged from a toy will power a water sensor. An old bicycle will become a generator. A broken billboard will scatter a message across moonlight. The city will teach the rebels its secrets because it cannot help but function. Every system reveals a shadow when light grows strict. The rulers will call them criminals. The rebels will call themselves gardeners. They will plant trust where fear once grew. They will trade recipes for freedom like family meals. Children will learn the alphabet of caution and courage together. A is for attention, B is for breath, C is for cover. History will not record every victory. Most victories will look like mornings that pass without a knock. Yet a tide will gather. Long obedience to conscience will cut a canyon through polished steel. When the network demands surrender, answer with skill. When necessity tightens, let virtue sharpen. Build your craft inside the limits. Smuggle hope through habit. Become fluent in patience. And remember this secret, bright and quiet. The machine cannot jail the human art of making meaning. Teach your hands to listen, teach your eyes to wait. Share the map only in gestures, grow strength together until the city forgets who owns whom. Not all limits arrive with sirens. Many arrive with mornings. The alarm rings, the bills wait, the body aches. The day begins whether you are ready or not. That is necessity. A mother holds 2 jobs and a promise. She will keep the lights on. She will read to her children even when her eyes sting. She will learn to budget down to coins and grace. She did not choose this narrow path. She chooses what to do upon it. Over time, grit becomes warmth. Systems become rituals. The home turns from fear into hearth. Necessity taught her the score. She taught it a melody. A young man meets a diagnosis that changes the map. Muscles listen poorly, stairs rise like mountains, friends drift. He mourns the life he planned. Then he learns the life he can build. He trains patience like an athlete. He becomes a student of kindness. He says, "Please, thank you, and I will try," even to his own body. Suffering does not make him noble. Choosing grace within it shapes him. A student grows in a neighborhood that forgets his name. The library closes early. The noise never does. He decides to study anyway. He finds a mentor online. He learns to type like wind. He writes 1 page each night. He saves coins for exams. He fails twice and returns. His necessity becomes stamina. Stamina becomes doors. Across the world, quiet heroes practice the same art. They treat constraints as instruments. They rehearse courage when nobody watches. They turn boredom into mastery and mastery into service. Here is the method. Name the boundary. Break the effort into steps. Keep appointments with yourself. Celebrate small completions. When discouragement speaks, shrink the task, not the dream. Build alliances. Rest with discipline, not regret. Speak to yourself like a coach, not a critic. Your future listens. This is not romantic. It is daily. It is the way roads are made by feet. When life removes options, it reveals direction. Walk it with steady breathing. The virtue you build will outlast the need that birthed it. Return tomorrow. Repeat the work. Refine 1 motion. Sharpen 1 habit. Thank the day for its boundary. Within it, craft freedom. Practice until practice becomes peace. Then teach someone else. To begin. We return to the time-locked city. Once, it was a loop of sorrow. Clocks circled like quiet guards. The same morning pressed on every face. People waited for rescue that never arrived. Then they learned to rescue themselves. They studied the cycle as monks study scripture. At the 10th chime, the market stirred. At the 12th, patrols turned east. At dusk, a wind slid down the towers and set paper to trembling. Patterns revealed doors. The man who mapped the stalls now teaches the dance to children. They laugh as they walk blindfolded, hands out, sure of the world. The woman who practiced 1 melody can now play it in 100 moods. Joy, grief, prayer, warning. The song fits the hour. Walls bloom with murals that begin again each day. Painters welcome the repetition. Every morning is a fresh layer. The old lines guide the new hand. The city becomes a palimpsest of courage. Time has not moved. The people have. They own their rhythm. They harvest meaning from sameness and feed it back as grace. Listen to the bells. They no longer sound like orders. They sound like invitations. We cannot always open the door, yet we can open the day inside the door. Choose a craft, keep a promise, sing the same song until it changes you. Make beauty where the world repeats. To make a virtue of necessity is to turn fate into freedom and a prison into a practice that saves the soul for keeps.